Welcome all of you, all the attendees and panelists to Disrupted Heartfulness and Meditation. This talk aims to help us tackle issues of isolation, chaos, and uncertainty propelled by the current global situation. Be a part of this heartful session and learn how to tackle stress, master emotional agility, and deep focus for greater well-being and effectiveness. I welcome all the attendees again and request them to use earphones or headphones for better quality of the audio. Apart from that, I would request them to post their question in question and answer section so Bhatia sir can take it forward later after the session. Before handing over the session to Mrs. Bhatia sir, I would like to request Ajinkya sir, our honorable chairman, to talk to us a few words.
So thank you, Aishwarya, and thank you to all the participants. We have a lot of registrations and a lot of Facebook streaming registrations as well. So welcome all to the session of Disrupted with Sanjay Bhatia Saab. And Bhatia Saab, I'm grateful that you've taken out the time to come on this seminar and address us, because we know you're particularly busy in this time. In fact, your workload must have multiplied eightfold, because the port is an essential service and managing a government enterprise would pose its own challenges. We running a university are facing with several issues, so you managing an entire port is truly commendable. So we look forward to your interaction. And just before you begin, I have known Bhatia Saab not just as a government official who is very good in his work as a bureaucrat and has greatly participated in the workings of our country. He has served several prominent government positions and has been an excellent leader. And I may add a team leader, because with the interactions that I've had with him, his processes of working together, evolving together, and through a process of spirituality, mutual understanding. And I feel he's the perfect fit for the current session, because with so much data overload and people going through so many trials and tribulations, I think there is a need of some fresh impetus with a different thought leader who I see in Bhatia ji. I'm sure we'll all be enlightened after the session, because his thoughts are truly provoking. They make you introspect, and it's truly the need of the hour, because you're only bombarded with negative news. You're only bombarded with words like anxiety, depression, uncertainty, and the future. But I also feel, and so does Bhatia ji, that there is a world beyond these words. There is a world which is extremely positive. There is a world that is within you, which you can look into through meditation, through mindfulness, through the power of positivity and manifestation. And I feel we should all look at this as one mantra rather than focus on the negativity of the whole situation, and look at this in a very positive way as to how we can evolve with a better understanding of the surrounding around us. The many things that we've seen the animals come out on the streets, we can see the birds chirping, we can see the skies are bluer, the waters are clearer. So perhaps in a way nature is hitting back to us. So it's also a time for us to introspect and think what success really means to all of us, whether it's just earning good salaries or making a lot of money or making a lot of wealth. So what is our quotient of happiness really? And I think this pandemic has really given all of us the time to really think about where we stand in our lives. So Bhatia, we are looking quite forward to listening to your views. I'm personally excited to hear you and also to follow the meditation practices that you've spoken so wellly about, because I'm truly excited. And at this time of need, you are here for us. So I'm really grateful, because a lot of people look up to thought leaders and to people in position to give them some guidance in these particularly tough times. But we look forward, and after this session, I'm sure I'm going to be enlightened, and so are many participants who have joined in and who are also listening to us on Facebook Live. So I'll pass it on to you. Aishwarya, you can take it up from there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Before I introduce Mr. Bhatia, again, I'll request all the participants to use headphones or earphones, because more have powered in now. And also post your question in question answer section only. So Mr. Sanjay Bhatia, Chairman, Mumbai Port Trust and Indian Port Association, is a Maharashtra cadre IAS officer of 1985 batch and serves in the rank of Chief Secretary of the state and Secretary in the Government of India. He has 35 years of experience in serving at various senior levels in the Government of India and the Government of Maharashtra. He is also a preceptor of heartfulness and meditation and has been practicing meditation for the last 20 years. Bhatia sir, we are so grateful to have you on board with us, and we would really like to have some experiential learning with us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Aishwarya. You can hear me properly?
Yes, sir. Come.
Okay, great. So friends, I think Dr. Ajinkya has taken a good initiative. This is the fourth session which I am taking. In general, I must tell you that the first session which we took was like this was National Police Academy for all the IPS officer trainees in Hyderabad. So the DGP there asked me that why, because the classes are all going virtual and they can't meet each other. So he said, why don't we start meditation? So that was the first session I took. And I'm glad to say, Dr. Ajinkya, that this is about 20 days back. Every day they are doing meditation after that, every day. So there is a remote meditation sitting, which they are taking every day. So I'm sure even the university, your university will take it up and take it further. Because meditation is something which needs to be practiced regularly for it to really give you the experiences and what you need to gain from it. So therefore, I'm very, very hopeful after the session is over that there will be some system by which it is a continuous process that all the students are doing continuous meditation. You're all aware we are in a war-like situation. I don't know whether sitting in your college you are really facing that much or in the uni, but here we are right in front of what we are facing. The port is fully functional right now with about 100% performance with, like I was telling Dr. Ajinkya, with 15% of the staff. And there are four of my colonies in Mumbai which have already gone down. I mean, they're in the containment. Nobody can come out at all. And there is a hospital which we have, the Port Hospital. We have already had 21 positive cases in the hospital. And out of that, 7 were doctors and our own doctors and nurses. So you can imagine what we are going through. In Mumbai, I am also part of the BMC, that is the Bombay Municipal Corporation's all panels which are monitoring what is happening here. And the situation is quite grim. About 8 to 10 regular hospitals are not functioning or functioning at a very, very low capacity because even if one patient comes, there is a problem because you're all doctors. So I thought I'll start like this and first tell you this part. We had one patient who came into our ICU about 25 days back. 3 hours that person was in the ICU. Affected later on, 2-3 days later. In 3 hours, we shifted him to the isolation ward. But when the report came positive, we already had 17 nurses and doctors who had to be quarantined. And that sequence is continuing. It's not stopping. So one goes, one another happens. So there is regular tension going on. But I must compliment the doctors and nurses that they are taking it with a lot of grit. It's quite fearful otherwise. In the beginning, even the nurses were very scared to go into the COVID isolation ward. In fact, they were asking me, why did you start it? So this whole issue, there is some sort of a stress, tension going on everywhere. But one tool which we are using in the hospital is this meditation. We started this meditation about 3 years back, all over in the port. And in the hospital also, there is a regular teacher. One of the doctors became a preceptor and she's been conducting classes. In fact, the first nurse, when she got positive and she was admitted in, we sent her to the critical hospital, Fortis. And I gave her a call to see what she's doing, how she is feeling. You know what she said? Sir, don't worry, I am doing meditation. Imagine that. So this was the reaction. So this is like it's a tool which not only reduces your stress, but also helps your faith and is there available to you whenever there is some problem coming. Even before I tell you my story, I must tell you about my daughters. My whole family is now doing meditation, and I have two daughters your age. I think the students who are sitting here, they do not regularly practice meditation, but they know that they have this tool available. So whenever there is some sort of a stress happening in their life, they just come and say, Papa, give me a sitting, a meditation sitting. And after that, the problem is 80 to 90% resolved. So this is what is there. So if you get to know that there is some tool, whenever you have a problem, you can do this and the problem gets minimized. Although externally the problem doesn't get minimized, but internally you become much stronger, you become much more relaxed, and the problem gets minimized. So this is a great tool to have in your hands. I have seen something else also. I'll tell you in the story also, but these are some of the things I wanted to tell first. I have done an MBA from Australia, from Southern Cross University. There is a subject which is taught to us called change management. A lot of tools are taught. I have tried all those tools. None of them work. This is the only tool which even works in an organization to change the organizational culture of the organization, because people start changing from inside. They start getting much, much better human beings, compassionate, more loving, more creative. So this is one tool which I personally feel everybody must have, whether you're doing heartfulness meditation or some other meditation, but you must be doing some meditation in order that there is some backup strength available to you whenever there is a problem. And right now the problem is huge. So I'll, like I was telling Dr. Ajinkya, we will have this whole, I'll tell you my little story. Then we will, after that, we will do an actual relaxation and meditation. Actual meditation is for half an hour. We don't have that much time. So about 10 minutes or 15 minutes, we'll do relaxation and meditation. And then I will have a question answer session. So I'm starting with the story now, after this background of what has been happening in my life. I am taking you about 20 years back when I was about 40. You know, when you come into the Indian administrative service, normally you start getting very senior positions at a very, very young age. So the ego really goes up. And I have a wife who's also in the service. She's in the Indian Revenue Service, income tax. 1 year, one batch senior to me. So you can imagine the two huge egos in the family. And but till the age of 40, we very strong and very aggressive personalities were somewhere managing. Life was as if working hard in the office, doing some good work in the office, and then either going for a party or going and playing some game. So it seemed that that is life. At the age of 40, I had some deaths in the family, and which completely shook both of us. My wife's name is Anuradha. She comes into the story again and again, so I'm introducing you to Anuradha. So both of us were very shaken when this incident happened, the two deaths, people who were very, very close to us. And we started asking this question, what is the purpose of this life? What are we there for? And then I started reading books on regression analysis, life after death, all that. I read about 30, 40 books. The gist of those books was that you will understand the meaning of life and the purpose of life only if you start doing meditation. If you do meditation and if you go inside, you will have the answers. From outside, the answers will not come. So we got hold of a colleague who was doing one meditation. I think it was transcendental meditation at that time. and started doing that meditation. I tried it for, Anuradha did it for about a month. I did it for about 6 months. We didn't get a satisfaction. Then went to another meditation, Vipassana, which was very, very good. That was in fact one meditation which was very experiential. But without describing all the journey which I went through in various meditations, I want to bring you to heartfulness quickly. So there was a time when I was doing 9 meditations together, 9, and going crazy and praying to God, please tell me which one is the right one for me. And then something happened. I read this book called The Secret. I'm sure many of you guys would have read this book, The Secret. The Secret says that whatever you want, think very, very, very positively about it, and just ensure that there is no negative thought which comes. So I thought of some 2-3 official things which were not happening, which were not normally going to happen, and all those 2-3 things happened. So I said, "Wow, this is good. I've caught a secret." And I was doing this 9 meditations together. So that time I started applying my mind to that. I have already got a guru, and I've found the right meditation, and and I'm very happy. So at that time, without again divulging another story, which probably someday I will write about, some incident happened in my life, and I was sent to a place called Bagpat near Delhi. And IAS officers are sent for election duty as election observers. So I had gone to Bagpat, and in Bagpat, I had something in my heart started telling me that you're going to get your answer in Bagpat. So I searched all over Bagpat, went to every temple, every other place, any spiritual or anything. Even went to the Ram Rahim ashram. I spent half a day with Ram Rahim in the Ram Rahim ashram also. Didn't get my answers again. Normally, when there is a election duty like this, election observer, the collector calls all the district officials for dinner and introduces the observers to everyone. So collector had called everyone. He was younger than me. I'm reminding you, I'm talking about nearly 19 years back. And he was hosting a dinner, and my question in my mind was which meditation I should be doing and whether there is anything in Bagpat. So I asked the collector. Collector said, "Sir, यहाँ तो गन्ना और मक्खन मिलता है. आप क्या meditation ढूंढ रहे हैं? But this guy sitting next to you, the superintendent of police, he keeps doing something. A little derogatively, in fact. He said a little derogatively. He keeps doing something." So I asked the SP, "What are you doing?" So he said, "Sir, I am doing a meditation in which there is a flow of transmission, a yogic transmission, which does our cleaning." I had, in fact, that very time I had just left the post of being the chairman of Electricity Board, Maharashtra State Electricity Board, and knew a little about transmission. So I said, this guy is doing something wrong. He's talking about some yogic transmission. I need to teach him some other meditation, which I was doing at that time. At that time, I was doing Vipassana. So it was decided that he comes to my guest house next day. Next day he came. The decision was that he's going to teach me and I'm going to teach him what we are doing. But because it was Lucknow, it was UP, and the culture was pehle aap. So I asked him, pehle aap sikhaiye. So the SP said, "Okay, sir, sit before me. And now listen very carefully, because this is what we are going to do today in the meditation. So this is how the meditation is going to be." So the SP said, "Sit in front of me and close your eyes. Sit in a mood of expectation that God is going to reveal himself to you, and give a thought that there is divinity in the heart in the form of light." This is all he said. So I said, "What else?" Because I had been used to doing mantra.
Can you repeat that? Or can you repeat that again so that it
Ajinkya, I'm going to come back to that. This is part of the story. Okay. No, I'll repeat it again. when I start the meditation, I'll repeat it again. Uh, so, so the, because I had been used to so many things, I had been about mantra meditation, about looking at the breath. So I said, what after that? He said, nothing after that. You just observe yourself. In fact, you give a very gentle attention to your heart and observe what is happening. What are the thoughts coming? What are the feelings which are getting created? And with that initial mood that God is going to reveal himself to you. But that is the mood which is created. And I am giving this thought that divinity is in my heart in the form of light. And after that, I'm just observing with a gentle attention towards my heart. I said, okay. So we sat for half an hour. Now, I had been till that time, I had been practicing for nearly 6 years, various kinds of meditation. But for the first time, he's sitting right in front of me, and I'm a science student. Something started happening in my heart. Something started happening which I can't describe. So when the sitting was over, this is what is called a sitting. When the sitting was over, I told him that something happened. What were you doing? He said, sir, there was yogic transmission coming to you, and your cleaning was happening. I said, where am I unclean that you were going to do my cleaning? So he said, these are the deep impressions which you are carrying inside you. He gave me a simile. He said that there is divinity inside us. Let's say that's like a lamp or a lantern. And through our deep impressions, we have gathered soot all around it. These deep impressions are like soot, but this yogic transmission, when it comes to you, it starts cleaning the soot, and then that divinity starts emerging inside you. So this is the answer he gave me. I had experienced it, otherwise I would have laughed at it. I don't know, some of you guys might be laughing at it, but I had experienced something. So I said, what next? He said, sir, you need to take a minimum 3 such sittings for you to really start getting this yogic transmission directly to you without me sitting in front of you. So I asked him, what is special about you? He says, I am a preceptor. I am a teacher of this meditation. So the yogic transmission flows through me to you when I'm sitting in front of you. But if you are tuned, then this can flow directly to you also. So I said, okay, give me these settings. So next day he came. Again, I had some little experience. Third day again. So after 3 days, the SP tells me, his name is Mr. Mishra. Someday, when he comes from Lucknow, I'll introduce Ajinkya to Mr. Mishra. So 3 days later, he says, sir, your sittings are over. Now yogic transmission is flowing directly to you. So you sit down and do your meditation yourself. So I sat down and did the same meditation with same thought, divinity in my heart, and I'm just observing what is happening. Nothing happened. 4th day, I'm sitting and nothing happened. So I rang up this guy, SP Saab. When you sit in front of me, something happens. When you're not sitting in front of me, nothing is happening. He said, no, sir, your sensitivity is still coming up. It's coming to you. I said, I don't have time. You know, we bureaucrats are always in a great hurry to achieve something. I don't have time. Please come back and give me some more sittings. So he must have thought this guy is a little crazy. So next day he came. For the next about 7-8 days, every day he came and gave me a sitting at my request. He, of course, wasn't wanting to do it, but my request. So finally, I had about 10 sittings. And some of the sittings were absolutely mind-boggling. Someday I was feeling absolutely light, so happy. A lot of happiness was felt. So after 10 days, I said, I think this is it. Because in all the other 9 meditations, except Vipassana, it was somebody telling me something and I was believing it. It was only here that I was experiencing something, which what the meaning of that was started emerging later. But till then I was experiencing something. So I said, okay. After 10 days, I said, I'm leaving all the 9. In fact, when you start doing things like this, your heart gives you the answer. So my heart said, okay, leave everything else, start doing this. So since then, I started doing this meditation very, very regularly. It's been now 14 years. 14 years since that day when that SP gave me those sittings in Bagpat. It completely changed my life. Completely. These 14 years have been like an upheaval, or I think I should call it a reform. My personality changed. Like I said in the beginning, I was a very, very aggressive and very highly competitive person. Very normally IAS officers are like that, but I was even more aggressive when being a Punjabi. I saw my personality getting changed. I became much more balanced. So if there is an extrovert, if you take a psychometric test, on A plus is an extrovert and B is maybe introvert, then I have come somewhere in between. And actually, this got proved through some psychometric tests. So the personality changed. I found I became much more balanced, ready to listen to people, more loving, more compassionate, happier. And I am not describing someone else. I am describing myself, because whatever I have experienced, I am describing to you. Then some other things happen. Normally there are three areas in which this life is. One is work life, one is family life, and the social life. So in my work life also a lot of changes happened. I found my concentration levels had gone up. During this meditation, you do not concentrate. In all my other earlier 9 meditations, during the meditation, you concentrate. In this meditation, you do not concentrate. You're just observing. Very gently, you're observing. But improved concentration is a result of this meditation. So the students who are listening to me, it's extremely good. I'm telling you, it's extremely good. Your concentration levels will go up if you're doing it regularly. Not you do it 3 days and then say I've reached that level. I was a good student in this meditation, so I did it regularly. Another thing which I noticed, the intuition levels went up. This intuition, actually people are not aware of, but intuition is something your heart starts telling you before an incident is happening, or something that this is right and this is not right. Those answers had started coming from inside. Third, which is also very important, creativity improved, which is very important, because I don't know, when you go deeper into this meditation and all these things and get into spirituality, you realize that divinity is directly related to creativity. Divinity is creation. So your creativity, because you remove that suit around, and some sparks of the divinity start emerging, the creativity immediately starts improving. So these are the things which I saw in my work life, and which of course resulted in improvement in efficiency, improvement in work life. Second was family life. Family life completely changed. I must tell you this. I told you in the beginning that when Anuradha did that first meditation with me, after that Anuradha was in fact quite counter. In fact, one 10-day meditation, when I came back, her hand was in a sling and she had fractured her arm. So when I came back from that 10-day meditation, she was so angry with me, and that she started detesting meditation. And so whenever I would go and do some meditation, everybody would, the kids and the family would laugh at me and all that. This is what was happening out there. But when I started doing this meditation, within 3 months, something happened, and she agreed to take these meditation sittings. And that's it. After that, she fell in love with it. And now she's also a preceptor. I am a preceptor of this meditation. Then my daughter started, like I said in the beginning. So if your whole family is doing meditation, whichever meditation, I'm doing this and I'm liking it and loving it, the atmosphere in the house completely changes. Because these normal desires and the other things, they just start disappearing. You become much more loving. It doesn't mean you don't get angry. It doesn't mean we don't have fights. We have fights, but you forget the fight very quickly. So this was a result which I saw in the family life. Third was social life. Now this is where my old friends don't like this part, because earlier when I was not doing these meditations, being a Punjabi, I had both non-vegetarian and would have a drink once in a while. In whichever country I would go, I had collected there was a bar full of one bottle from every country. Within 6 months, or I think 6 or 7 months, without making any efforts, both this non-vegetarian and this partial drinking habit completely disappeared. In fact, that bar is now full of heartfulness books. So this is a major change which happened in the social life. Some of my friends don't like it. They said, "Oh, you've become boring." But the principles of life have changed. So that original thing which maybe I was enjoying partying earlier, but that sort of a thing I don't enjoy now. I enjoy being in the company of people who are on the same track, who are working in moving in the spirituality and all that. So the social life also changed completely. Now, after that, when you started getting deeper and deeper into it, then started coming the revelations. And the revelations were phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Amazing. I use the word amazing there because the whole world is moving in one direction. 99.9% people are moving in this direction, whereas the reality is on this side. And when I started getting these revelations of reality, I was amazed. And when I started practicing that, the results were extremely good, extremely good. So I'm not going to talk about those revelations right now. Maybe Ajinkya will have to keep another session for that later on, for what were those revelations. But the revelations also slowly started revealing what is the purpose of life, what are we here for. I don't say that I have 100% of the answers. I think I am still on about 50%. But even 50% has given me a lot of satisfaction, a lot of happiness. And I've reprioritized my life completely. Now, the first priority is this meditation and spirituality. In fact, I keep telling it to all my employees and wherever I've gone. First, this is the first priority. Second priority now is health, yoga and all. And third is my friends, the relationships. And the fourth is work. Normally, people will say, "Oh, work should be number one priority." I have realized that if the first three things are done correctly, fourth happens so well automatically that you don't even have to bother about it. So this is something which I have now realized and reprioritized my life completely. Now, after that, I started applying this whole thing to all the organizations which I was heading. First I was in MSCB, so it was applied in MSCB. And, in all these 3-4 organizations, what I saw was anyone who was doing this meditation started becoming more loyal to the organization. That person's integrity improved, and again the balance improved. The person became much more peaceful and happier, open, and I also saw creativity improve among the people who were doing this meditation. Now I want to conduct the meditation, so I'm cutting the story short. Only one incident I'm going to tell you where the trust also improved. And you are all going to be healthcare givers, so trust is very, very important. The patients and all, if the trust is there, half the problem will be over. Just one small example, and then I'm going to go towards starting the meditation. I was posted in CIDCO. CIDCO is City and Industrial Development Corporation. Navi Mumbai is all CIDCO. So I was the vice chairman and MD of that. And you are aware that this Mumbai airport has been crowded since ages. So in 1997, the government of Maharashtra took a decision that CIDCO needs to build a new airport in Navi Mumbai. And a Bhumi Pujan was done. There is a board there in the place where the airport was to come up. CIDCO had 1,000 hectares of land. It lacked 200 hectares of land because that was with some project affected persons. And CIDCO and the project affected persons were like this. No trust on each other. No trust at all. And from that, 97 to 2013, this airport could not move forward. Mumbai kept on becoming more and more congested. The airport becoming congested. In 2013, I had got posted there. I don't give a credit to myself. I just started meditation among CIDCO employees. And because these PAPs used to come to me very often, so I started meditation among them also. And sometimes we used to have joint meditations also. So CIDCO employees and PAPs also doing joint meditation. They would sit separately. They would not even sit together. But the result, I'll tell you, and it did not happen in 3 days or 10 days. 1 year and a half. A year and a half, all the PAPs developed trust on CIDCO, and 97% of them surrendered their lands, and now that airport is going on. So what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say here is that these are the things, these are like side effects of meditation. The real thing is the real purpose of life. You're moving toward, but these side effects are also so many, so good. You have this tool in your hand which you can use anytime there is a problem. So this is the meditation I wanted to talk about.
Yes, sir, you spoke about trust, and by stroke of coincidence, at the back of your plate, we can only see trust.
Yeah, Mumbai.
That everything is already working.
Yeah, Mumbai Port Trust. Yes.
The trust part. So that's
yes.
also a sign of divinity.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, so now we'll do this meditation, and then we will have a question hour session. It's 30. So we'll do it for about 10 to 12 minutes. The actual meditation, actually the minimum period is 30 minutes and 30 to 40 minutes. So this is not going to be considered as a regular session. I don't know whether you will experience something or not, but maybe, hopefully, God willing, somebody will experience something. My request to Dr. Ajinkya would be that take regular remote sittings. You don't need any preceptor to sit, like I'm doing today, but regularly have these 35-minute sessions where a preceptor is sitting, you're sitting at home, anybody sitting at home, doing the same thing which SP told me to do. And we do this meditation and do it regularly for a number of days. Like I had to do it for about 10 days. And you will start seeing the effects yourself, the experiences which will start coming. But okay, so now we will actually do this. But before we start the meditation, I am also wanted to teach you a method of relaxation. And this relaxation is something which you can learn immediately. You can go and do it at home also, or even among your friends. And it's very, very simple. So I am going to start with the relaxation where I will be giving some commands. Just follow them. That will be about 2.5 minutes. From there, and we have our eyes closed all the time. From there, I'm going to take you directly into meditation from there. And I'll say now we are starting meditation. And how are we going to do meditation? Again, I'm repeating. You're going to sit in a mood of expectation that God is going to, whichever God you believe in. Or if you don't believe in God, then some source. That God is going to reveal himself to you. This is the mood you are sitting in. And you're giving a thought that the source of this divinity, source of the light is inside your heart. This is what is your thought. And after that, you are very gently, with a gentle attention towards your heart, you are just observing what are the feelings coming, what are the thoughts coming. Nothing else. That's all. You will be just observing. Okay, what will happen is that thoughts will be coming. Do not try and stop any thoughts. Let the thoughts come and let them go. What will actually happen? You will go from, you will get into some thought. Whenever you realize that you are not observing yourself on that initial thought and you are into some other thought, completely, very gently and without any guilt, bring your attention back and again start observing. So I hope the method is clear. This is the method which we are doing. It's not too technical, so don't bother too much whether I'm looking at the heart here or here. It's just a feeling. It's going to be a feeling which gets created. So I'm going to start with the relaxation and then we go into meditation. So that I don't go very deep, I am putting an alarm for myself. Otherwise, I can go very, very deep into this.
So I request all participants to shut off all the sounds in and around you and just be a little focused, because then only we'll gain a lot if we are fully involved with the process. So just request everyone to put on their headphones and try and calm themselves.
Yeah, so please close your eyes and sit very peacefully. You can sit on your chair or you can sit on the ground, cross-legged, not cross-legged, whatever you want to do. You should be comfortable with your back straight. That's all. And later on in meditation, even if the back goes down, don't bother about it. Let it go wherever it goes in the beginning. So now please close your eyes. I am starting with the relaxation technique. While you are doing it, you are also learning this relaxation technique, how it is happening. From Mother Earth, there is a divine energy flowing into your feet. And this divine energy is relaxing your feet. Feel that relaxation. Feel that energy relaxing your feet. Now this energy is moving up. It is going into your ankles, relaxing your ankles. Going up your lower legs. Feel that relaxation. It's very important to feel the relaxation. That energy is moving up. It's gone into your knees. Relaxing your knees. Into your thighs. Relaxing your thighs. Both your legs are very relaxed and feeling very light. Feel that lightness. Now the energy is moving up into your stomach. Relaxing your stomach. Going up further into your chest. Relaxing your chest. Into your shoulders. From the back side also. From the bottom. The energy is rising into your lower back. Relaxing your lower back. Moving up. Upper back. Entering your shoulders. Going into your arms. Upper arms. Going into your lower arms. Into your hands. Both your arms are also feeling very light. Your whole body, from shoulder to below, is completely relaxed, very light. Energy is now going into your neck, front side, into your jaws, relaxing the jaws, your lips, your nose, cheeks, eyes, the energy is traveled into your forehead. It's relaxing your forehead. From the back side, from the neck also, energy is rising. Back of your head, lower back, going up into your upper back, back of your head. Now the energy from the front and from the back has gone to the top of the head. Your whole body is feeling very light, completely relaxed. Now take your attention to your heart. You are into the mood that God is going to reveal Himself to you. You're giving a thought that God is inside your heart in the form of light. And this light is attracting you. Now we will be starting meditation. Keep your very gentle attention towards your heart and observe what is happening there. Do not try to concentrate. Just observe. Let the thoughts come and go. So I'll be quiet now for about 10 minutes. We are doing this meditation with the yogic transmission, where the yogic transmission is flowing from me to each one of you. Please start meditation. That's all.
That was very calming and relaxing.
Yeah, so this actually it should be full 35 minutes. Then you get the real effect because it's like you put an egg for boiling. You kept it only for, suppose it needs 30 minutes. You've done it one third of that.
Before the Q&A, I have a question.
Okay, yeah.
Is it necessary for a transmitter to get this meditation? We can do it by ourselves.
Yeah, so finally you do it yourself. Like after in the beginning, the preceptor, this is based on this yogic transmission method, by which those 3, 4, or 10, I took 10 sittings. After that, the transmission flows directly to me. I don't need a preceptor. But we do go to a preceptor now. Like I'm a preceptor every week or 10 days for deeper cleaning.
Okay.
But otherwise, you do your meditation. You don't need to go to a preceptor. But if you want further, then we go. Like all preceptors go to each other also for deeper and deeper. And these days, with the pressure, like I told you in the beginning, today I told Anuradha to give me a sitting. There's so much pressure building up everywhere. So that is what the preceptor is used for.
So it's almost like a guru shishya parampara. You learn from the guru.
No, not really. It's more like a guide. There are 10,000 preceptors, so there are not 10,000 gurus. There are 10,000 preceptors. It's more like a conduit. As a science student, I'll tell you what the preceptor is like. When a sunlight is flowing and it flows on the paper, it doesn't burn it. But when you put a lens there, and when the sunlight flows through the lens to the paper, it goes and burns. That is what the preceptor's role is, that lens.
So it's channelizing a concentrated.
Yeah, it's more of a channeling. And this is not any psychic energy or anything. In fact, it's just a flow of love from the divinity which is flowing, and it gets channelized and goes and does its work.
In fact, I was beginning to just feel it when we were awakened.
Yeah, I know. In fact, the last 1.5 minutes, the real thing had started, but then my alarm went off.
So I'll let Aishwarya take charge. Aishwarya,
Yeah.
do you have any questions or anyone wants to ask?
Yes, sir. So I think the initial questions sir has already answered about heartfulness and what is all about it. So there's a question from Shachi. Would it be correct if I said that when we meditate, we get clarity in our mind, which would help us introspect and lead us to believing in ourselves? That is again, I think, answered by
I
sir.
think I've answered it with my own experience. I've answered it, but I will answer your first one. That heartfulness. Heartfulness is this meditation today being practiced. Earlier, it was more like a secret being passed on from one person to another. But today, there are more than 10 lakh people all over the world doing this practice, and there are about 10,000 preceptors who are teaching this. There's also an app called Hearts app. So you can go to the Hearts app. If that preceptor is there anywhere else in the world at that time, connect and take a sitting. I go and give sittings to some of my friends and relatives in USA, in China, in all the places. So it's like a remote connection.
So there's another question from Megha Mehta. When we do meditation, some unwanted ideas come into mind. How to overcome this barrier? So I think you've talked about it again.
No, again, let me clarify it even more. There's nothing unwanted. Let it come, let it go. In fact, many of the ideas which I implement in my organization also, or even in this fight with Corona, they come in the meditation only. So sometimes they're wanted, sometimes they're unwanted. But just observe. If there's something good, it could get registered. Otherwise, just ignore. It's part of the phenomena.
Okay, sir. So there's another question from Uganda. Is there a difference between thoughts and feelings, or they're actually same?
No, there's a difference. In fact, thought is the starting point, and then from the thought, the feeling emerges. So there is a difference.
Okay, sir. So there's another question from R. Gopal. He's asking, like, while during the meditation, he felt like sleeping. He could see the Mother Goddess just now. And I mean, this is my question also, because I put Headspace app I use for meditation, just 10 minutes. When I sleep, I put it and I go in a deep sleep. I enjoy that sleep. So is it normal
No,
after
so
meditation?
in this one, normally, Ashtang Yoga. In Ashtang Yoga, there is Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Dharana, Dhyan, and then Samadhi. This meditation takes you to Samadhi very quickly. Otherwise, if you are doing normal Ashtanga Yoga, there is a regular about 30 years or 40 years of practice. And then you get into very, very deep into Samadhi experience. Sleep, what you mentioned is similar to Samadhi, but is not Samadhi. Samadhi is very relaxing, no thought at all. When you get it, you will realize what I'm talking about. What is Samadhi?
Yes.
Otherwise, it's difficult to describe. But because of this cleaning process which is happening in this heartfulness meditation, this Samadhi experiences start coming very, very quickly. Very quickly.
Sir, I'll take a last question. This is from Devasmita. How the suit of ego can be cleansed?
What suit?
Of
Suit
ego.
of ego. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is what, in fact, all that suit is what our deep impressions are. But let me tell you, even when these deep impressions go away, I have seen it now. I've been practicing it for 14 years. And the Daji, who's the main guide, we have come to a realization that even when the suit of deep impression gets cleaned, the ego is the last thing to get cleaned. In fact, ego is something, if you cross that stage, you are in one of the very, very high spiritual stage. So that is probably the last stage. Ego also has to remain for you to be alive and also to clean.
Okay, so one last question. This is last. So many people have asked about, while practicing meditation, should we practice at a particular time, same place? Does that make an effect to it?
Yeah, so it is ideally you should practice at the same time and at the same place. Fix your own time, fix your own place. This meditation has a meditation practice in the morning. Then we have a cleaning practice in the evening, separate. When we do the day's cleaning, that is for about 20 minutes. Morning meditation is about 30-35 minutes. And then at night, there is a very small prayer. So there is a full cycle which it goes through. And it's good to do it at the same place, but it doesn't really matter so much. That is like an ideal thing. But if you can't, it's okay. Do whenever you can, wherever you can. I do it in my car when my chauffeur is driving.
Great, sir. Sir, it was grateful to have you here. We really had wonderful time. And I think Ajinkya sir will agree to have you again for a session on revelations. Isn't it, sir? We should have it again.
Aishwarya, I would suggest to Ajinkya that like we are doing in the National Police Academy, have some preceptor. I'll put you in touch with some preceptor who's giving a sitting for 35 minutes for the next 10 days, 10, 12 days. So the full sitting, that real effect will come. And it's all remote.
So I can connect with you so you can share the information. So great session. I'm personally feeling energized, charged up, and happy. I think that's
happy is the right word. Yes.
Happiness is something. So I made some notes when you were talking and just some key learnings that I took away. So if I may share them with everyone. So you mentioned about divinity, that the divinity is within us. We just have to look within, and that divinity will come to us through this meditation. You also mentioned that there are deep impressions within us which create a suit around our heart or our body, or exactly us, to put it. And this meditation clears that suit. It sort of cleanses us from all those impressions, the deep impressions. It's very important that we come out of these impressions. And the most interesting part you said is, first comes meditation and spirituality. Second comes your health. Third comes your friends. And fourth, work automatically follows. So I think these are the biggest learnings that we've had today. I'll put it in practice myself. I practice many of these philosophies, but reiterated that commitment that I have. And I'm sure everyone who's listening will also go back very enriched. And we'll continue to do these sessions. So please put us in touch with everyone. But thank you for spending time. Just before you go, Bhatia Saab, what is the team you're managing? How many people are now currently under you, and how many people are you managing currently? And if you could just give us maybe 5 minutes of what's in the ground.
What is happening in the ports?
Yeah, in the ports, yeah.
Okay, so in Mumbai port, I have now about 6,000 employees and 35,000 pensioners. So we are running the Mumbai port. I am also the chairman of Indian Ports Association, which is all the ports of all the major ports of the country. We have about 35,000 employees there, and all port activities of the country, all exports, imports are done through these ports. About 85% of the real business of the country is an export import, which is the trading which is happening. And about 50%, 55% or 60% of that is happening in these major ports, which is the IPA, Indian Ports Association. We are also overhauling this whole, all the ports are going completely digital, and this COVID has also made us go faster on that. In fact, there is this concept of bill of lading. It's like a rupee note. So from me, rupee note goes to you, you become the owner. Okay. Similarly, the bill of lading is like that. It goes from me to you, you become the owner of those goods. So we are going to make that digital. We are after RBI now to give us that new, under the act, to make an amendment to make that also as a digital. Then all the activities of the ports, trying to make it digital, work on e-office, so that all my officers in this time also, and I am expecting it's not ending very soon, another 2.5 months, we will have to be on our toes, as well as working from our places as far as possible. Only the people who are really required, we are asking them to come. Like I am coming. If I don't come, nobody will come. So therefore, I have to come. And so ports are all functioning. Mumbai port has been functioning at 100% because what we have done, we have created working hostel at the various port places. So the employees are staying there for the last 1 month, and I've told them you will have to stay there for next 2-3 months, and we will look after your families. So that is the method by which this port is still running. But even then, like I said, I have so many nurses who are gone out and are positive, and then 3 or 4 colonies of our employees have been sealed. So this is what is happening now. But overall in the country, 75% capacity utilization of the ports is happening even during COVID period. And one more news to you. I've started meditation in Mumbai port, Calcutta port, and Kandla port. And Vizag is very soon starting.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So you're leading by example, really. So we are so glad to meet someone in the government who's so committed to his cause and is actually leading by example. So really, thank you. Thank you for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ajinke.
Greatly enjoyed this session.
Yeah.
Ridesh, any closing comments, Ridesh?
So thank you, Bhatia sir, for your time. Thank you, Ajinke sir, for the initial remarks as well as the concluding remarks, and basically for motivating us to have this. And thank you to my team of Aishwarya, me, Thomas from the back end who actually made this work, and to the attendees for having found time to attend this. Thank you very much on behalf of the Ajinke D.Y. Patil University.